Conversations. Explore the future of industries and success mindsets. Welcome to the Ken Patel Experience. Join visionary Ken Patel for unfiltered conversations. Explore the future of industries and success mindsets. Get real talk on entrepreneurship and tech. Deep dives into AI, blockchain, and luxury trends. Hear inspirational stories of resilience and hustle. Streaming live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and more. Subscribe now and turn on notifications.
Welcome to the Ken Patel Experience. Myself, Ken Patel, and this is JJ. And I would like to welcome everybody today, obviously, to the first show that we have. And the people that do know me, you knew that I had another show, I think it was maybe a few years back, Hospitality 360. So that was actually our first ever hospitality news show that went viral. And we were the number one hospitality show worldwide. And we hope this is going to be the number one show worldwide as well. And I'm going to take it over to JJ, and he can introduce himself, and I'll come back to me afterwards.
All right, man. Ken, thanks for having me on. I'm excited. I'm excited for the world of blockchain, the world of crypto, and so happy to be on this journey with you and other folks that are wanting to experience or at least get the knowledge, because I think that's the biggest thing. But again, I'm JJ with Move Enterprises. We actually develop and create utility tokens for clients, for businesses that have ecosystems. So it's mainly we focus on utility tokens. We don't do the pump and dumps and all these other ones that you've been seeing. So
yeah, obviously you guys do a great job with it. You've taken one token in particular from almost a zero value to over $2 now within what, 3 months, 4 months?
5 months now, but it's actually done pretty good. It started off at 3 zeros and a 1. I think understanding the tokenomics is the most important thing in crypto, and so we have taken that to a different level. We looked at Bitcoin, we looked at some of the other tokens, and started really diving in and looking at the tokenomics on there. Is looking at the amount of tokens that's in circulation, looking at the tokenomics on the side of how do we do this the right way. And I know we'll dive in later on how your token was born and some of the things that we've done with that to make it to where there's no pump and dumps, and it's not that the risk is not there. It takes a lot of that risk away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what counts. That 3 zeros and 1 reminds me of another token.
Yeah. So, yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Bitcoin was on that level. A lot of people were singing their shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And we were one of those. We bought in early on Bitcoin. We bought in at $3,000 a token, me and my partner. And, when we bought, we were like, oh, man, like, we don't know what this is, but it's great. And then we sold at $4,500 a token. And now Bitcoin is at over 100,000 per token. So,
right.
Or per coin. So we got tired of singing our shoulda, coulda, wouldas. We was like, you know what? How about we become the shoulda, coulda, woulda? But we do it a different way. So that's our main goal.
And I think you should let the viewers know. Well, let's just say what's called the creator economy says you should let the chat know that what you guys did before you got into the crypto blockchain world.
Absolutely. So me and my business partner, Mike, shout out to Mike. That's my guy. We've been business partners, more like brothers. We used to own Verizon Wireless franchise stores. And so owning those stores in Florida, we had a chance to learn a lot from the franchising world, owning business, and then moved back to Texas. And that's when we got into crypto. We were trying to get funding for our company, for our business. And that's the reason why we started buying crypto, trying to figure it out. We were chasing money, let's just say. And so once we started realizing, man, like, we can make money in crypto, we bought Dogecoin and we started looking at Dogecoin shoot up. We made quite a bit in Dogecoin, and we were happy. but it wasn't life-changing money. It wasn't business money that we can use to make our business thrive. So in 2019, we came back to it and we said, you know what? Let's figure this out. So me, I'm more of the operational for Move Enterprises. I shake a lot of hands. As I met you, going to call and making the calls and making things happen. And Mike does a lot of the back end stuff, but we work as a great partnership to where we make things move. And that's the name of our company is Move. We spell it different, but we move different. And that's the reason why we do that. But anyway, so going back to it is, once we started learning some of the things that some of these coins are doing, you look at Shiba Inu. A lot of people are looking at Shiba and they're waiting for it to hit a penny, but we had to start popping that bubble. It's not going to happen. No. Never going to happen. Never. Because they have half a quadrillion tokens in circulation. So this is what's important that we try to get out there and make people understand. This is why we look at the tokenomics. This is why we look at the charts. But been on the creation side, we don't have to look at charts anymore. We look at the utility and what it's going to do. That's why we don't have to watch the charts all day. So
right. You guys do a great job with it. Obviously, tokenomics is the most important subject matter at that point when we talk about crypto overall, right? So so the chat, probably some people know me, some people don't. I have been in hospitality, God knows. Oh my God, what are we in 2025? Jeez, long time.
Moving fast, man.
Yeah, about 28 years, I would say now. And obtained my degree from Dubai. I've worked in the trenches, didn't grow up with wealth, so had to work hard for everything. And I think this is what this show really is about: career growth, career development, how to actually achieve your certain goals, and whether it's financially, personal, all those other things. So, and I was actually an executive in the Northeast market before I relocated to north of Atlanta, and been here now about 6-7 years. And, I had a vision, and that vision now turned into the world's first AI crypto hotel brand. I've been saying about AI and crypto for many years, before it even turned into hype words now. So, and I've done many interviews on this and kind of spoke about where this is going to lead us to the future. And I think this is it's going to happen. Automation plays a huge key. I need analytics play huge key into all of these things that we are going to be able to know about. And as things move right along, this is going to affect how the workforce really is going to operate. I mean, we're seeing it now with the news, JJ. I don't know if you heard the robo-taxis from Elon Musk and Tesla. And I actually bought one myself too, but so that's going to turn into driverless Ubers, right?
Yep.
And so this is the world we're getting into now, because you also have to know there's a company out in Texas right now, and I believe it's the route that they're doing is Austin to Houston or Houston to San Antonio, and they're driverless semi-trucks.
Yes.
And they have cameras all around their trucks right now.
Yep.
So what does this do? It actually takes away that extra cost that affects the bottom line, right? When we talk about payroll, that you're not going to
overhead.
Go hire drivers. You're not going to need to pull an extra insurance. So these are all these things that AI is going to do that kind of scales the bottom line, right? It's your GOP that goes through a different level at this point.
Correct.
Right? So
absolutely.
And that's kind of my journey in the way that I try to influence hospitality. I think some people listen. Some people are like, this guy belongs in a psychiatric hospital, But here we are.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing to this is sometimes we do feel like we're on our own island, and that's why I was so blessed to meet you because, or make that call that day and us talking, because being able to be in a world where you feel like you're by yourself on thoughts of what we could do with the blockchain, and you see our politicians and you want them to understand it, and say, this is how we can literally fix a lot of things around this world. And so you don't have to have a lot of government oversight. And I know that people are afraid of that, but I'm sorry, but government oversight is kind of what got us in the situation in the first place.
Exactly.
And so what we want to be able to do is say, let's work with our government, but I don't need your help. I need you to be able to integrate and work with us, because of the fact that we can curb the inflation. We can curb this homelessness and everything that's going on, because of the fact that we integrate this into our economy right now. And it's easy to do. It's so simple to do. The hardest part is the education. That's it. Getting people out of their own way. That's the biggest problem that we have.
Right. And we have to also look at that when we talk about it, and we'll stay on this crypto subject for a little bit.
Right.
So when we talk about the crypto markets, and people don't realize this, it's already a $3 trillion market cap on that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And OpenSea, when we deal with the NFTs, OpenSea itself is doing almost a $4 or $5 million trading volume.
Yep.
And these are things that, I do a lot of research, JJ. Like I will sit there, I will be on my phone when I'm not working.
Yep.
And I'm reading everything to know that what this might do and what this might not do, and all of this other things. And I think I didn't tell the chat about everything we're doing with my corporation, but I also have my own technology company where we created our own IoT devices, almost 3,000 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, probably 2,800. And
amazing.
That implements to put them into hotels and residences, but that also goes into the EV hotel brand. Our clothing line goes into the EV hotel brand. So we developed this entire ecosystem, and now with the ULH is going to be part of the EV hotel official currency, but it's also works in the level. And for the people that are here, stay tuned. We have some breaking news on ULH, so don't worry. We're going to let you know about that. So the thing is that we have to build an ecosystem, right? The $1 billion mindset always is, whether you look at Elon Musk, you look at Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Bethany Franklin, all these people that you look at, is they developed an ecosystem of brands, right? Where all those brands come back to one brand. And that's what it is, right? Because people ask me, they're like, man, why do you need another brand when your hotel is already valued at $150 million? And the value is going to go obviously way more now with this crypto that might put us over $1 billion valuation. Right? And along with all the other things, a clothing brand, tequila brand, technology company, all of that. But I said that you have to build an ecosystem. When you have a solid brand, you have to build an ecosystem around it. That's why you got Tesla. That's why you got SpaceX. That's why you got Starlink. You got an ecosystem of brands that have different deliverables.
Correct. Yeah, you got to have those. And you said the key is deliverables. You have to have those, because you can develop a crypto coin all day long, but if you don't have a utility and you don't have the people, that's literally, the people are the asset. And I say this consistently, like, the people are the asset. Without the people, the banks won't survive. The economy won't survive. You have to have the people that's circulating. So whenever the U.S. prints those dollars to go and do stimulus checks, guess what? They have to have the people to circulate it. Well, the banks need you. So that means you have to circulate that currency in order for it to be relevant. And so that's the same thing I try to tell people. That doesn't always work, really, because we've got food stamps, and food stamps used to be paper money, and now it's all digital.
Yeah, exactly.
And so,
no, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
But I'm just finishing that point. But so it's all digital now. So the government says, okay, well, let's partner with these. It's that goes what you're talking about when it comes to the deliverables. You got to have a place for them to go spend that food stamp. Go to the gas stations, grocery stores. Now DoorDash is already taking EBT, and then you got Amazon coming on board. So those are all the points that you were making, is that having those things in place. And looking at Bitcoin, you speaking 3 trillion, but think about this. Bitcoin has more transactions happening, daily volume, than Visa and MasterCard, who have been
Yeah.
around for ages.
Yes.
And they did this in less. I mean, you think 2009 is when Bitcoin came out, and it's already surpassed. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, I bought it in 2011. 2011, 2012, somewhere around there.
Yep.
And I mean, I still hold it.
Yep.
You know, the thing is, that's for a rainy day. Hopefully, I don't have
that rainy day's coming. That rainy day's coming. Well, I mean, but you make a good point too on that. But you got to realize, when we can start using these tokens and these crypto in ecosystems to where, there's people that probably, even in I'm sure chat has millions of dollars in crypto, but they don't have a place to spend it. No. We have to be able to give them those deliverables to be able to spend it. So at the hotels, guess what? I want to be able to use the ULH take. Oh, hey, Ken, I'm about to go to one of your hotels. Yeah, my hotels accept it. That's huge, because I don't have to cash it out. I can spend it. It has more power in your ecosystem than it does outside of it.
Yeah, and that's my entire vision on that ULH was way bigger than what any crypto is out there right now. Yep. It was more about bringing currency into an entire world of an ecosystem, right?
Yes.
Luxury airlines, luxury hotels, luxury retail brands, whether it's the Gucci's and the Dior's and the Pradas, all of that, right? And airlines with Emirates. Now, 14 years in a row, Emirates Airline has been the #1 airline in the world. Correct. Looking at resorts, and I'm not talking about these brands, right?
Right.
I'm more talking about high-end resorts. Looking at looking at what's all the Burj hotels out in the Middle East and Dubai. Mm-hmm. And this is a way that our holders now are able to spend this. They can go out and spend it, because we have such a system. And thank you to Mike. Mike's the guy. But, and big shout out to Mike on this. And so the thing is that we were able to create such a smart contract and create a locking mechanism. And even after the locking mechanism, there's only a 5% daily withdrawal rate. That means that our holders are going to use our point of sale that we've already launched. We've already launched that. So they're going to be able to use that into all the brands that we collaborate with. Yep. And so it's actually going to be really good. And just for everyone still here, stay tuned. We are going to give you that breaking news. So,
I was so excited, Ken. Whenever you got the PO, when you made the announcement, that the POS system is ready and you got that approval, it's amazing, because again, going into the hospitality industry, into the luxury brand, to be able to do this, that's phenomenal. Because a lot of people, yes, they say, oh well, I don't know how to use crypto. Well, your POS still does fiat to crypto. So if somebody has a debit or credit card, great. You still can do it, but you'll get a better discount if you have the ULH token. It's getting them into that ecosystem. So
it is. And I'll go, and I want the chat to understand this too, as we're talking about business here, and we don't want to just be about our brands, but
correct.
I would say, and this is one piece of advice I would give to anybody that is looking to grow their career, is always think outside the box.
Absolutely.
Don't stay inside that box, because your employer might be trapping you inside that box. And because your mindset is so narrow, it's not left or right. At that point, you really don't know what's out there. And you really don't know what you're capable of doing. So, and I'm telling you from experience, and JJ, I compare business and brands to a marriage, where you're always pivoting and making sure that your wife or your husband are always taken care of, right? That's the same way we do in business, right?
Yep.
And I mean, you would know that you're married. I'm not, but I'm getting in back.
Hey,
I'm getting into the dating scene.
But my wife always says Mike is my work husband. She always laughs about that because she's like,
Yeah.
your work husband's called. But Mike is like my brother. But we, you see how close we work and how we operate. We each handle certain things from our business, and that's what makes our partnership so great. And we've had a long-standing partnership for a long time. So, and that's what's key.
And I would tell you this, JJ, too, and this is a belief I have, and this is for everyone in the chat here and tuning in, is you need, for your business, for your brand to be successful, and for you to be successful, you need a great partner.
Yes.
Your partner is what makes you, and without that, you can't be a one-man show or a one-woman show. You're not going to do that. You need somebody there to tell you how great you're doing, to tell you what you might be doing wrong, and how you can be more successful.
Yeah.
And
and burnout is real. Burnout is definitely real. And so you can burn and you make, that's a hell of a point, Ken, because when you have a great partner, one picks the other one up when you can't move. That if you're giving 80%, they're giving 20, you can pick up that rest of that percent, even if it's not 50-50. But me and Mike, we handle that. So that's very, very, very important what you said. So.
It is, and I speak from experience, and I would tell you, JJ, the toughest thing for me was trying to build all this in the last 4 years without a partner, right?
Oh.
And I've kind of came to a reality that I thought I could do it. And I came to a reality that no, you need to have a partner. You need to have somebody, right? And and I feel that way because I see it globally, of all my connections and all my people that I'm with, and all the relationships that I have. It's now that it's became like a thought where your partner is what makes you, and it's not the business that makes you, right? So, and this is just a piece of advice for everybody, that knowing that if you have that great partner, you're going to build that power duo. And you can look at a lot of other people out there, they're the same exact way. So,
it's definitely a trust as well, because again, not everybody can be your partner. But it's a trust that me and Mike have built over time, but we trust each other whenever we're having meetings, whenever we're like on the calls. Like normally you would have a partner that says, well, I need to make sure I'm on that call. Mike and I don't work that way. If Mike has something that's going on, he'll always call me after, and vice versa. Like even if I'm having a conversation with you, I'll call Mike. Hey, this is what went on. It's all about integrity. It's all about communication. If your communication is there, your business will, you can't, it's hard to fail if you got the communication and you have an integrity. I mean, most of these businesses, they fall because of somebody was distrustworthy or you know what I mean?
And I mean, I've went through that. And this is like where I started off and letting people know this show is going to be very different of usual things that I don't discuss. That we're going to discuss. And I mean, I went through that in my first year. I mean, I have people try to steal my ideas, steal my tech, steal my source code. And this is in the middle of, personal relationship things I'm going through,
Correct.
So it's never going to be a green road. It's never going to be like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to go make $1 million tomorrow, For me to get to my first $1 million that I made was probably the hardest thing in life, the hardest thing. And for me to get my hotel brand funded, I spent 20 to 21 hours a day working, And so I think the road's it's never going to be easy.
No, it's not.
It's not going to be. And I've felt that in the last 4 years, going from here to there to there. I think I told you, JJ, I created a crypto back in 22.
Yeah.
And then I pulled it back because I said, we're just not ready. The market's not ready, and we had to time it. But at the same time, when you're doing all these things and they don't come to reality, people's mindsets will be like, oh yeah, they're never going to do it. They're never going to do it. Right. And I would tell everybody that's here, don't listen to the noise.
Yeah.
Do not listen. The biggest mistake as an entrepreneur you will make is you listen to the noise. Even if you want to grow your career, and whether it's about career development, you don't want to be an entrepreneur, you're in your position right now, you're going to get things that people are going to tell you that are not going to be great for you, right? So you have to now understand, do I want to be here or do I not want to be here? Now, if you don't want to be here, then again, think outside the box. It's how are you going to grow your career? What are you going to do? Where do you find yourself in the next 5 years doing what? Right. And now, if culture is a very important thing, then go on Glassdoor and look at what the company culture is like. What are past employees saying about the culture at that company? So there's a lot of different ways. I just, inside my company, we've created such a great culture, and I don't think there's a single employee that doesn't like me, I mean, they say I'm the greatest boss they've ever had. I'm like, I don't want you to use the word boss. I want you to use the word colleague, because I don't like the word boss, and I'm only 44, so I don't want to feel old, But,
yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah, we're the same age. And I mean, I always feel like you'll never be happy with what you accomplish, right? Like even right now in the world of relationships with me, right? I'm maybe happy, I'm maybe not happy, right? I don't know what's gonna make me happy, and I don't know what's not going to make me happy. And I have to separate that from business to personal. I know 110% in business what makes me happy, but personal wise, it's like I'm still figuring it out, right? Like I'm still like, okay, this is what I want, or is that what I want, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's always hard when people try to balance personal and business, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's like one person out there that says, "Hey, I got everything figured out." Because if they say that, they're lying to themselves. I mean, it's nobody. It's just like even with in the crypto space, even we don't have it all figured out. We experts at what we do, but there's always changes. I mean, you saw it at the beginning of your token. There's always something that we have to make sure we stay on top of. And so, and that's why you got to be really, really important, even with with your chat. People may say that they're crypto experts, but they only trade, but they don't know this back end of when it comes to the back end of it, when it comes to actually developing the token, it's a different animal. So that's why I try to tell people, like, please be careful when you say you're an expert. I mean, we're not financial experts, and I'm gonna have to go ahead and make sure we say that, hey, we're not financial experts. It's not financial advice. But at the end of the day, when it comes to developing crypto, it's a different side to it than just the charts and numbers that you see. So it's a whole tokenomics. Oh, we have tokenomics. They have economics. It's way different.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the industry has different terminology, right?
Yep.
And what people are really used to, they're used to, when we say white paper, they're not used to knowing what a white paper is. They're used to knowing a pitch deck. They're used to knowing some sort of deck, right?
Yep.
But the white paper is the pitch deck.
It's the pitch deck.
And this is what we look at. And the number one thing when you value a crypto is looking at the tokenomics, right? End of the day. And I mean, I've been introduced to this industry long time ago, due to a great friend of mine that's in the VC world, and she owns her own company as well. And it's funny, she brought up back in 2009 when Bitcoin came up during the financial crisis, right? When everything crashed.
Yep.
And she's like, there's this coin that's got created because of the financial crash.
Yep.
And she said, what do you think about it? I'm like, you know better. She's like, personally, me, what I think about it, that's how she was telling me, is that you don't have to pay foreign exchange rates. And we're talking what, 14, 15 years ago, right?
Yep.
So her mindset was like, oh, we can wipe out foreign exchange rates. And I'm like, sign me up, I'm like, let's do this. So just based on that one thing, we were able to give it a chance, right?
Yep.
I think where people do struggle is that they get stuck in their own ways.
Yeah.
And they don't want to give something a chance, right? Let their ego and their emotions in a way.
Yep.
And they're like, no, you know what? I heard XYZ CEO of XYZ investment bank said crypto's a fraud. And I'm like, you're going to listen to that person and they're going to tell you this and that without you doing your own research. Well, hey, maybe the money's not green for you.
That's so lazy. That is so lazy too.
Yeah. And I've seen that a lot, JJ. I've seen so much of that where, and maybe that's kind of my personality. That's the way I am, is I like to think for myself, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I like to make decisions for myself, knowing that I can take something and I'll dissect it, A, B, C, D, and I know, okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Okay, maybe this is right. And then I'm going to approach that situation and be like, why are these things wrong? I know this is great because this is right, but why are these things wrong, right? And knowing now, is that pattern keep happening, right?
Yeah.
So if that pattern keeps happening, then you know that piece right there might not be right for you.
I'm glad you made that point right there, because that takes me to what and how we did ULH, right? How we did other tokens. We saw those patterns of all of these tokens being pumped and dumped. And we saw, okay, well, somebody says this is a utility. And then we saw, okay, well, they only Bitcoin put this many out there and the other tokens put this out there. Why did they do that? So we looked at all of those things, all of those when we look at that tokenomics and going, what's going to be the sweet spot for us to put this token out there, lower the risk, and help a company be able to sustain itself and basically become its own financial, entity, basically. I don't want to say too much of that. Like, it's not a security, it's still a property, but it's your property, literally your property. So now we want to be, how do we help the people? How do we help it to where everybody that's buying this token, not investing, but buying this token, buying your product, going to the hotels and making cashback rewards? How does that work? What does that look like? So then we was like, you know what? If your ecosystem is buying the dip, it's gonna forever like have rewards. That, yeah, can it go down? Absolutely. Can it go up? Absolutely. But you can't promise those gains. However, if your system is buying it every day, you do the math.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, what we've achieved. I mean, in matter of from launch to 7 days, we were already at a 200,000 market cap on it.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna eventually grow. I mean, obviously, we're dealing with the global crisis. We're dealing with Iran, Israel. We're dealing with Russia, Ukraine. There's always something going on right now until it eases up. Then the markets will come back. Till then, you're not going to see a substantial growth in that aspect. And that's the reason when I talk about EB Hotel, we're delaying our development due to the fact that what we're seeing costs tremendously went up. And you have to, in business, for everybody listening, it's great. Sometimes you want something right away. You're impatient and you want it. But in your head, you have to think, what's the smart decision?
Correct.
What is the ideal situation? And would you go spend $100 million to go build something? The same exact thing now costs $140 million. Would you wait? or you want to just keep going ahead and spend the extra 40 million.
Correct.
So the smart thing would be to wait,
Yeah.
and it'll eventually happen. It's not going anywhere. And, and that still goes back to ULH. As I
Yeah.
told you previously, 2022, I already had this already out. And I didn't do it because I said, you know what? We have a president that does not believe in it, and we have other politicians that do not believe in it. When we get the president that believes in it and thinks this is the future and wants the United States to be the crypto capital of the world. Right. And that happened. And that's when we went to launch. And after months, and unfortunately, we knew that there were a lot of rug pulls, right? A lot of dump and runs. So to stabilize that and bring investors to know that this is not what we're about, that's why we have that locking mechanism that
Correct.
6 months from launch, nobody, including myself, is allowed to sell.
Correct.
And it can't be done because it's already built into the smart contract of the crypto, right? And I would tell everybody that, look, I'm not giving you financial advice on buying crypto. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to make $1 million tomorrow.
Correct.
If it was that easy, I would be doing it right now. But it's not that easy. So you have to work hard in life, especially JJ. My journey comes with a lot of heartbreak, a lot of things that emotionally can tear people up.
Yeah.
A lot of people say to me, myself, that I'm one of the strongest human beings to be alive, because with what I've went through, whether it's family, relationships, past employees, whatever it is, it usually people would fall, right?
Yeah.
But the belief I always have is no one is going to pick you up.
No.
There's not a single soul that lives here on the world that is going to say, oh, you know what? Let me lift you up. Okay. Let me give you this. Let me give you that. And you will have great friends. You will have great family. But the only person that will grow you is going to be you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. What's so crazy with that statement is there's people that come in and says, oh, well, this business failed. This failed. I was like, well, you just spelled fail different. You spell it F-A-I-L. I spell it F-E-L-L because I can get back up. You spell fail as a way different. So right. It's all about how you take that. And I've gone through heartache, and a lot of people have stories and they go through heartache. It's how you change, how you move from that. How do you move forward from that? And that's why Move Enterprises was born, because move is spelled different because we're moving different. And right. So, and back in 2015, the change happened for me when I lost my 6-month-old daughter. And so, and so it's And so I continue to go through that, but at the same time, that's real pain to me. So if anybody says anything negative to me or bad or whatever, I'm like, you don't know real pain. Nothing you can do or say to me is gonna be equal to the pain that is losing a child, right? Having to bury your child. So when I look at things like that and I go, you know what? This didn't kill me. You know what? This didn't kill me. I'm still moving. This didn't stop me. I'm still moving. So that motivation is there. And so as long as I keep pushing and moving, our system moves as one. So when we're able to go in there and help companies like yours to come in and say, hey, we can help another company, that helps us because it makes us feel good. It's not just about us. It's really not. It's about moving more into an ecosystem where we can literally make changes in this world. Yeah. We're not greedy. It's not about the money. It's about how do we grow people? How do we make the ecosystem work? And that's what we're about.
I think you're so right about that, because I'm at a point in my life where I can tell somebody that I do care about and say that, okay, what do you need?
Yep.
or, is there something I can help you with because this network that I've built, right?
Correct.
And it makes me feel good that I have people that reach out to me all the time too, right? They're like,
Yeah.
can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And usually people that are in my position that have, the high growth, they're going to shut the door. They don't want to get these messages on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, on TikTok. They just don't want to answer them, right?
Yeah. Right.
With me, I answer every single message I get. I get maybe 200 to 300 on Facebook a day. I get 300 to maybe 400 on LinkedIn a day. Instagram probably 100, and TikTok 100, whatever it is. And I answer every single one of them because I came from there where they were.
Yep. Yep.
I came from there. So,
and that's why ULH is going to be, successful, because that goes back to what I was talking about. And not even just a partnership, because you're basically in the partnership with your clients as well, with people that are going to support you. That's still a partnership, which means that communication has to be there. And if you're communicating like you are, it cannot fail as long as the communication is there. You're not going to please everybody. However, as long as you're communicating, that's all that really matters. The communication is key.
That's all it is. I mean, and I'm huge, JJ, you know me, I'm huge on communication. The thing is that whether it's business, personal, it's always communication for me. If I don't see somebody communicating, I'm like, look, man, I really don't care. Our business deal is X amount of dollars, but we're not communicating. We're not on the terms of having good communication. So just take that deal and give it to somebody else. I'll always find another deal. You know what I mean? It's not. I mean, I know that the network I've built and what I've built is an empire to know that we're able to have this scalability in a certain way. And, I've seen people just take a deal just because they need money, right? And next thing you know, they're stripped of all their clothing all the way down. They can't even go out anymore because they are left with no clothing.
Correct. Chasing wealth, man. You cannot chase it. You can always be behind.
And I've never did. If you ask any of my executives, we've had plenty of deals on the table. I mean, I just recently took the one deal to sell 40% of the corporation, but it literally took 2-3 years to get to that point, to take the best possible deal. And that's where, I decided I want to take a seat back and decided that I want to have personal growth. Correct. Not business, not career, just personal growth, right?
That's important, very important.
And spending time with my 10-year-old daughter, having somebody as a partner and all that good stuff, right? So I look at it where the biggest thing that we sometimes make a mistake with is we want to make money right away. And everything just tends to focus on money.
Yep.
And when you're chasing money, you're no longer going to get it.
No.
You know what I mean?
Not at all. Not at all.
No longer going to get it. I've lost money. I mean, I've lost money, and
same.
The thing is, it didn't affect me. It never affected me because I could lose all my wealth today, but then tomorrow I know I'm going to make my wealth again.
Yeah.
There's a plan and there's a thing. As my business coach, she tells me that she's never had somebody like me and the way my brain works. She's like, nothing phases you, nothing brings you down. And, it's everything you want to be perfect at it.
Right.
And I believe sometimes it's good to be perfect at it, but sometimes it's not good because you don't want to be the smartest person in that room. I tell people that you do not want to be the smartest person. Every time I go into a deal, try to do a deal, try to do a relationship, partnership, I'm always listening.
Right? You have to.
Yeah, I'm always listening because that's what the focus really should be about. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but I want to get into our ULH breaking announcement.
I was about to ask you about that. I was like, man, let's get to the.
I know we're getting towards the end of the show here. You know, we've got a few more minutes to wrap up. So, you know, part of the thing with ULH was me opening it up to all of my relationships around the world, right? Whether it's the luxury retail brands, as my relationship with Dior and other brands, my relationships with the luxury hotel brands that we have, and not these boring hotel brands that we currently have, more with experience and other things, and also with the airlines. So one of the first things is we're bringing on Hotel Savvy. It's the world's first OTA that actually lets the guest keep their own loyalty points. So if you're a brand loyalty member, it's going to allow you. We already have over 200,000 hotels on that OTA platform is already there. And we're almost about to seal the deal with this one hotel brand. So they have hotels in Vietnam, Bali, Russia, a lot of luxury hotels that they have. I can't make that announcement yet. That's what our legal team has told me. But so as you can see, we already have now the platform. So some people might not know what I mean by an OTA. So OTA is an online travel agency, just like when you look at Expedia, Booking.com, Priceline. So this is where we bring on Hotel Savvy into it. People will be able to pay with crypto, use our point of sale, and it's not a third person, because when you deal with Expedia Booking, it's a three system on how it works. It's like a 3-tier system. So it kind of goes from the guest to Expedia to the hotel. With Hotel Savvy, it really goes from the guest directly to the hotel. You never pay Hotel Savvy. You only pay the hotel. You need to make changes to your reservation, extend your stay, all that good stuff. It's all done at the hotel level. So this is why this is going to be great. And now we bring on this luxury hotel brand as well. And with a matter of 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to be bringing on 4 more retail luxury brands. So it's moving, as you would say.
Yeah.
It's moving.
That's awesome, man. That's amazing news right there, man.
Yeah. So I think we're in good space with it. I think it's good. I would like to offer everybody that is here right now, if you guys are in crypto, DM me on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. I mean, my thing on Facebook is, I think it's just Ken Patel. On LinkedIn, I believe it's Ken Patel EV Hotel. Instagram is Ken Patel CEO. So, I mean, you get the drift. It's Ken Patel everywhere. DM me, and we would like, and if you do know about crypto, if you don't know about crypto, as you guys have joined us, whoever was here now, we are going to offer you 100 ULH cryptos.
Wow, there you go.
Free of charge, just for being here.
Wow, so, amazing.
I'll end the show on that great news. And I look forward to seeing everybody. We might do this again this week. If not, same time, same place next week. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thanks, Ken. I really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, chat.